I'm Christine, and it's time for stories that I ate this month. Stories I ate this month. Stories I ate this month.
Off the hook, but the phone never rang.
July is over. I finished 5 books. I watched 4 series. And I saw 3 films. Golden Compass was our June Booksplosion book of the month. We're working with Random House. There's a new Philip Pullman book in the His Dark Materials world coming out this fall called The Book of Dust. So in celebration, Random House is hosting a summer-long reread of the His Dark Materials series. We kicked it off in June with The Golden Compass. I had never read The Golden Compass before, and I'm so happy I have now. I feel like I'm not left out anymore, something that I was for so many years. And the story is really dark for a children's book. I wasn't expecting it to go where it went, and I loved that. I'm super intrigued with where the story's gonna arc in the next 2 books. The one thing that dragged the story a little for me was actually the pace. If you watched our Booksplosion live show, we talked about this a lot. The story is so fantastic, but the way it reads, it's pretty slow. It takes a lot of concentration to like absorb it all. So I would find myself listening to the audiobook and trying to clean and stuff, but if I got distracted for like half a second, I'd have to rewind and be like, okay, wait a minute, I have to like absorb that. And right after I finished the Golden Compass book, I watched the Golden Compass movie. And I actually ended up really enjoying the movie, and I don't know, it's because like I had really low expectations. It was definitely dumbed down so that anyone could watch it and not have to like concentrate super hard. It wasn't half as dark as the book, which kind of disappointed me. That's part of what makes the fact that it's a children's novel so interesting. They switch around some of the scenes toward the end of the book in the film, and I actually think that made for a more exciting crescendo of events, but then they cut off a super important thing that happens at the end of the book. It's just like not in the movie. So then you're left feeling like, oh. I give the film a B-. It was directed by Chris Weitz, who directed New Moon. In a lot of ways, the way he directed the film was very reminiscent of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. You could definitely see the parallels, like he was trying to launch this series in that same successful way. All I can remember about the film is everyone in homeroom the next day railing on it, and like me not being able to comment because, well, I didn't really talk to anyone anyway, but like not being able to even have an opinion in my brain. The first show I blew through this month was the Netflix original Glow with Alison Brie. I wasn't sure if I wanted to watch this because all I heard was that it was about wrestling, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw that it starred Alison Brie, and immediately I was like, never mind, I'm watching that. And I really enjoyed it. I took like a whole day and did nothing after VidCon because I was just so exhausted. And I used that day to just sit and watch Glow, and it's so much fun. I don't know about you, but I grew up around a bunch of boy cousins who were always watching WWF and like loved Hulk Hogan, and I would see it a lot on TV, and we had the Nintendo game, and I didn't understand when I was little that it was all fake. Like, I did not get it. And then I learned when I was older and not seeing it anymore that it was all fake, and I was like, how? How was that fake? It looks so real, because you know, I had these memories of watching when I was younger. It still looks so real, but like until you get like a behind the scenes look of like what goes on there, it's hard to imagine it. And it was just so cool to see them forming this women's wrestling show. I didn't even know this is a real thing, Glow. And if you don't like wrestling, like you don't have to like wrestling to like this show at all. It's about this actress, and she's struggling in LA. She gets a call that this specific show is looking for unconventional actresses. She has no idea what it's about. There's a bunch of random people waiting for this audition, and then they tell them, you guys are gonna be on a wrestling show for women. No one has wrestling experience. And I loved watching the process of these women like training for this show and coming together. It ended way too soon. All of a sudden I was done. I think there's only like 11 episodes or maybe less. It went so fast. I'm really excited for it to come back, even though it just came out. A+ to Glow. I think it's definitely worth a watch. It's on Netflix. It's a great binge. The next book I finished this month is another that I started at the end of June, and that was One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. This is about these 5 kids that all get detention this one day, and by the end of the detention, one of the kids is dead. This huge investigation opens up, and it's like this big mystery. We have to find out who killed that kid. I loved this. I had so much fun reading it. It's like one of those once you stop, you just can't stop types of reads, and you just really want to know what happens. We switch point of views between each of these 4 kids, and the characters are really great. I enjoyed each one of their arcs. This book would be an A+ for me if I hadn't guessed the end before the end happened. And I don't think everyone has, but like, I've read a million books and seen a million movies and TV shows, and that is why this happens. But I still really enjoyed it. Like, it still gets an A. The such an entertaining read. The next movie I saw this month was Spider-Man. Spider-Man does whatever Tom Holland can, and that is everything. Tom Holland can do anything. I love him as Spider-Man. I love this Spider-Man. Oh my goodness. I enjoyed this so much. I want to see it again. Alas, I haven't seen it again because there's so many movies I want to see. I haven't been able to go to the movies a second time for something that I've already seen. I can't wait for it to be accessible to me on DVD, and by DVD I mean like Amazon. It's hard to say if it's the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion because it's so different jumping into a Spider-Man film knowing he's Spider-Man versus going into a Spider-Man film and watching the origin story. If you asked me before this film what my favorite Spider-Man movie was, it'd be Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. And I love Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man, so I loved 1 as well. But this movie had everything, and it was so much fun to see Spider-Man as a teenager. He's a legit teenager. I loved just watching him making these mistakes. There's such teenage mistakes. There's so much good stuff in there. He's not in New York City, so you're seeing Spider-Man like in the suburbs. There were so many great comedic moments, so many emotional moments. I loved Birdman as our villain. It was just my favorite. I have to rewatch Spider-Man 1 and then compare, but I think I like this one better. I laughed so much. A+, I cannot wait for more Tom Holland Spider-Man. The next show I ended up watching this month was American Crime Story, the O.J. Simpson trial. I had not expected to watch this, but I'm so glad that I did end up watching it. The O.J. Simpson trials went on in 1994. I was a little tiny 3-year-old when it was actually going on, but it's something that I've heard about my whole life, people referencing it, and I never knew the details of the actual trial. It was mind-boggling watching it. I can't believe I didn't know about all this. Like, and I had no idea, like, Rob Kardashian, that's where the Kardashian name was first made known to the world. They were good family friends with the Simpson family. And I could not stop watching it. I was like, I need to know what happens. I was on the phone with my mom and she's like, Christine, you know what happens. But I'm like, no, you don't understand. I need to watch it happen. The show is just really, really well done. Definitely giving an A to American Crime Story. The next book I finished was A Court of Wings and Ruin. I'm not gonna talk much about it here because I have an entire 30-minute book talk. I'll link in the description below. The next film I saw was Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. If you don't know Christopher Nolan, he's the director of The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises, Inception, Interstellar, Memento. He's one of my favorite directors. I absolutely love the way he tells stories. So Dunkirk tells the story, I think, of a true event that went down during World War II. And you're just chucked right into the war with the people going through this. It's not really about separate characters and the relationships there. It's about what went down, like the experience of being in their shoes in this war. There's very little dialogue, and the score really just takes you through the whole thing. It's less than 2 hours. You're on the edge of your seat the whole time. The acting is fantastic. It was an experience. I give Dunkirk an A-. Next book I read this month was Crooked Kingdom, which I loved. It was so good. I love this duology. I've recorded the book talk, so the book talk is coming. So I'm not going to talk much about it here. I'll link in the description when the book talk is actually alive. A to Crooked Kingdom. I listened to the audiobook, which was everything. Listen to the audiobooks for this duology. I'm an Audible affiliate. If you use my link that's in the description below, you get your first audiobook for free. This is a great pick. This is a great pick to start with. I like this so much that I needed to read the Grisha Trilogy like right after because they're in the same world. I just need to know more about this world. I want to know what's going on in Ravka. So I legit just finished Shadow and Bone. When did I start this? Like the day before yesterday. And I've just been listening to it in all my spare moments, and I already finished. And I can't wait to start the next one. This is part of a trilogy, Shadow and Bone by LEIGH Bardugo. This audiobook was really good as well. It's not a full cast, but this is told from one point of view. And the woman is really great at doing the different voices. I love her voice for the Darkling. It's so good. I'm so glad I finally have met the Darkling. Everyone's always talking about him. I feel so out of the loop, and I finally know him. I can't wait to read the other two and like watch the story arc. There's more to him than we see in this book. I'm real excited. I always see this necklace that goes along with Shadow and Bone, and like I never understand it. And it finally clicked towards the end. I was like, oh my god, that's the necklace I always see. And like there are so many references to like other stuff in this universe, like other countries. There's a random reference to a Suli acrobat. I'm like Ganesh! That's like Ganesh! Learning more about the Grisha and how their hierarchy works. I'm just having so much fun. There's two armies in Ravka. There's the first army that's just like the regular army, like the Muggles. 17-year-old Alina is in the army. She's a cartographer. She makes maps for the army. And she ends up in this life or death situation, and like she explodes with light. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Exploding with light is not a normal Grisha ability. It's a very rare type of Grisha, and she's immediately a target for their enemies. The world that Leigh Bardugo has created is so intricate. It's become so real in my mind. Like reading Crooked Kingdom, it felt like this world really came into focus for me. I've never even looked at the map for these books, but like I feel like I have a good idea of it. It's cool. I love this. Shadow and Bone gets an A from me. Highly enjoyed it. And then on the Netflix front, I needed a show to watch after I finished Glow and OJ. Like there was this big void. So I started watching Friends from College, which is a comedy. It has a lot of actors in it that I really like. One being Robert Schabotsky and the guy from Key and Peele. And at first I wasn't sure if I liked Friends from College. It felt like one of those depressing comedies where like shit is always going wrong. And also the lead guy is a novelist and he's like a super pretentious one. And his agent wants him to write YA because that's where the money's at. It's like very stereotypical YA that he's like pushing on him like werewolves and vampires. Like that's what you have to do to make money. It was just like every YA stereotype that's so frustrating to deal with when you tell people that you read YA. Anyway though, I got past that and eventually I was like finding the show hilarious. Like the more I watched it, the funnier I got. I watched episode 2 like the next day while I was doing laundry and I laughed a lot. I give Friends from College a B. And then the last show that I watched this month, the last story I devoured was Riverdale. And I had a day where I was just packing shirts. Packing shirts is so much more fun when you're watching something that distracts you from like the repetitive packing of shirts. I watched Riverdale literally all day because I had a lot of orders to do. I came because I just needed distraction and then I stayed for Cole Sprouse because Jughead is amazing. His character is so interesting and Cole Sprouse is fantastic in this role. He's so good. He and his dad, I stayed for them. It was a fun binge. By the end of the day, I was like, I only have 2 episodes left and I'm done doing shirts, but like I need to watch them. Will I watch season 2? I'll probably binge it like the same way like when it's out on Netflix. I'd give it a V. And those are all the stories I ate this month. I'd love to hear what your favorite story was that you devoured this month. My favorite is probably Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man so much. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Christine. I make videos every Tuesday. I'm at XTeenMay. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, I will see you next time. Goodbye!